to Primal Sports Talk. I'm your host, Dale.
And I'm Kane the Shrub Watson.
Yes, it was an exciting week of sports.
Well, when is it never? I mean, sports is always going on, and another exciting week, as Dale said.
Yes, and we saw last week Sunday, they started the news off with tennis.
Tennis.
The great one.
Rafael Nadal, number 21, as we predicted here. I mean,
I did not predict it, but yes.
Well, I mean, me and Peter, come on. Peter will talk about that more later on in the show, but Nadal eclipsing his 20th title now to go on to number 21. What does this mean for Nadal's greatness? I mean, we break that down further on in the show, but Nadal is now at 21 and is the all-time leader in men's Grand Slam. Only a couple females ahead of him, but what does this mean for his legacy?
Yes.
And is he the GOAT?
Yes, feel free to call in. You know, the numbers are 552-7406. That's 552-7406. That's via WhatsApp.
Only.
We know that's a hot topic right there. You know, I'm going to go against it, but we can discuss that later in the show after sports commentary.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Well, also let us move to the smaller tennis, the one on the table. You know, we saw the recently concluded senior national trials. You know, the team selected itself yesterday, where we see our producer, Mr. Mu Young, made another national team to represent Jamaica in Havana, Cuba, in a couple of weeks' time. My co-host here beside me also made the team, Mr. Watson, and Simon Tomlinson, and young Mark Phillips. That's the top four right there. And on the female side, we see Salisha Young, Senny Lewis, Jenna Lewis, and young Blake for the female side. So it was an exciting week.
For me, the good thing is to see that we're getting back in the competition stage. I mean, the whole fraternity has been out for a while. I myself is not too sharp, but we just want to see the sport grow and get more activity. And through activity, we produce more, better talent and ones bigger and brighter for the future. So it's good to see young kids coming out on both sides, male and female. Because we saw young Joel Butler gotten some decent wins also out of Kingston College. So, I mean,
finishing sixth,
as I said, note point. But the activity level, it's good to see. And I'm sure other sports are in the mix and starting to play sports.
Yes, it was an exciting trials. You know, it was we saw a couple close matches there, and
I myself was in some close matches, and I had to use my experience. But throughout the tournament, it's good to be out there, get your foot back in the water. It's not easy for none of us, no matter how young, old, sharp. Once you're out there, you have to play.
The fight.
That's a good thing with sports. It's unpredictable, but we try to predict it here.
Yes, so that tournament is the Caribbean Senior Championships, and that will be in Havana, Cuba, from the 3rd to the 9th of March. So we're looking forward towards that. No, it's just such a little NFL. We saw where Cincinnati pulled off the upset against Kansas City last week, defeating Patrick Mahomes, the so-called GOAT. But we will get into that, and also we see where the LA Rams defeated the 49ers in also a nail-biter finish as well. A little bit disappointed with that one. You know, I thought that the Rams blew the game. Well, I would say the quarterback.
I mean, the 49ers?
The 49ers with the quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G, you know. I think he's more of a model than a football player, you know.
And what type of model was it?
Very disappointing. But anyway, we'll see that the Super Bowl will be playing next week. And we'll see the Rams facing off against Cincinnati, the Bengals.
Next week, we're going more into detail into lineups.
Yeah.
More of the breakdown of the teams and what we expect. But for me, the Rams, full of stars. And you have to go with star power. Bengals have a young star quarterback, Joe Burrow, but the Rams have quality on both ends, defense and offense. Donalds on the defensive end, young Cup, OBJ on the offensive end. I mean, Stafford has been a pro. He's been in the league for a while. Now it's his time to shine. Versus the young Joe Burrow, who is not short of anything confident. And he's been winning from college. And we see now on the stage. And in NFL, is no guarantees. We see where in NBA, we've seen dynasties. We've seen teams win. And repeat. In NFL, that's so much harder. And over the years, we see that.
Yes.
Because imagine, Tom Brady has the most championships with 7, more than any other franchise. And NFL has been playing from in the 40s, 50s. So you see where NFL is tough to win.
Yes, it's any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday.
Yeah, you know, you have to come up blazing. That's how it works with the NFL. Now, on today's show, we'll be speaking with the legendary, the famous, the man who started it all.
Yeah.
Somewhat, you know, the champion jockey, George Hosang.
Yeah. Former Kingston College old boy, we might add.
Yes.
You know, coming from a great alma mater.
And we also had to wear the colors.
We have to wear the colors representing. So, I mean, he'll tell us more about his career, and we are all interested and waiting to hear what he has to say. But once you talk about racehorsing and champion jockeys, especially coming out of Jamaica, George Hosang name has to be mentioned, and it's definitely legendary.
Yes, at the top of the list.
Legendary.
So we'd like to welcome to Primal Sports, the big man himself, George Hosang. Welcome.
Thank you, gentlemen. Dane and Kane.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting.
All right, Mr. Hosang, everybody knows you from, you know, your time back in the 70s where you were the champion jockey in Jamaica. But before we get there, tell us about your early childhood growing up in Jamaica. I mean, going to high school in Jamaica before you became that champion jockey. How was life in Jamaica? Early childhood days coming up.
Okay, yes. Well, childhood in Jamaica, in my days, where it was in the late 50s. I was born in 1954. And Jamaica was so peaceful back then. You know, crime was unheard of, really.
Yeah.
And I attended Blake's Preparatory School, somewhere down there on Elliston Road, I think it was. And I graduated to KC, which Purples, you guys, same. Yeah, where I spent 4 years, and I fell in love with horse racing. Family was involved. I have 2 uncles that race horses, Victor and Basilisu were their names, and you know, Creation, one of the horses, won the Jamaica Derby back in the 60s. So they were pretty famous guys too, and they used to take me to the racetrack while I was still at school at KC. And when I was in the fourth form at KC, I was really so studious and academic.
Yeah.
I was more loving horse racing. So anyway, after my 4th year in 4th form at KC, I got a report that said I have to do better, or I will have to repeat 4th form. So I took that, and I took that report and I gave it to my mom, and I took the advantage of encouraging her to let me drop out of school and came on a spark. So
from that age you saw your talents and knew where you wanted to go in the future.
Was in academics. Future lied. But I could help I could read and write. And mathematics, all the basics. Yeah. I mean, they were introducing me at school to things like algebra. Gentlemen, when you start to mix in numbers with alphabets, work for me.
That's a good one.
That's a good way of looking at it.
It takes a genius, you know what? Academically, I wasn't so interesting in that. I didn't know with horse racing. So anyway, that was I was about 14, 15 years old at that point, and my mom says, okay, you know, because her brother, which was my uncles, they kind of guided me and gave me a break with a trainer that trained horses for him, which was Fritz Crawford.
Yeah.
Same stable, Emilio Rodriguez. You can ask anybody about Emilio Rodriguez, and he's an ex-big man from Jamaica. So both of us were at the same time coming from this unknown stable, Fritz Crawford, really small guy, but he's right now. He's passed away a few years back. He did a great job in apprenticing both of us at the same time and giving us a break. So from there on, I started riding when I was 16 years old. At the later part of my 16th year old, and I believe me, I didn't think I was anywhere close to being professional rider then. Well, we were called apprentices, right? Apprentice jockeys. So, and anyway, the first year of riding, I got the whole shebang, booed and stoned and was in, the Chinese is supposed to be in a shop. They used to Chinaman go chop saltfish. So, anyway, I got the hang of it in about a couple of years, and I started winning races, but not until the third year of my riding career.
It took you 3 years?
Yes, I think I started riding in 1969. 71, I was 2 years, sorry, 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, I was a lead rider there for like 71, 2, 3, 4. And I think if I'm not mistaken, it was 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
The fifth year, it was 1976. I was way ahead in the jockey standing, but as you know, crime escalated, and we had jockeys were like I had to hide and run for their lives sometimes from because crime. We had gangsters from different angles, from different parts of Kingston, different gangs. They used to come to the racetrack and they would try to not only look for tips, but they're trying to fix races too.
Yeah.
And I was held up at gunpoint at one stage and kidnapped and threatened, and they wanted me to fix a few races for them. And naturally, I was scared and I messed up my pants at the time. I was 19 then, and I've never had looked down a gun barrel before.
Yeah.
At that point, I kind of said, yes, I agreed with them to fix the races. I was thinking quick to say I had to agree with these guys so that not to get hurt. So they said, okay. And then I said, I'll meet you back on Friday morning, and the races were Saturday. So I said, well, I can't do this job for you with you walking around with me. So I'll go do it, and I'll meet you back here tomorrow and let you know. So they agreed, and they turned me loose, and I jumped in my car, went straight to my house, grabbed my girlfriend, who's my wife today.
Nice.
I just jumped on the Air Jamaica, and I was missing for a few weeks.
That means you're good at maths then, because you added up everything quickly and came to the conclusion that...
But this was out of fear. Fear from my life.
Yeah.
Not only me as a jockey, there was a lot of other jockeys that were threatened.
Yeah.
So during that period, the atmosphere was really bad.
No, it was violent. Yeah.
You were 4 or 5 times champion, 4 times champion jockey at that time.
Yes.
Okay.
And approached many times to do
races.
I was like, I defended the public. I wanted to give the public fair
races, yeah.
And the game is such, it has a stigma to it. Jockeys are legal guys that are cheats, and they're thieves. They pull on horses and they fix races. That stigma back then went along with jockeys.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like the guy that's gonna try and give the public 100% every time. And
right, speaking about what is the impact of a jockey and a race? I mean, is it the horse or is it the jockey? Which one? Which one
that's a good question. Okay, that question was asked to many experts in the game from different fields, and it all boiled down to that the horse is 90%, jockey is 10%.
You agree with that? You agree with that?
Race.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that, but you know that 10% that the jockey makes up, he can take that 10% and make a horse lose 100%. You make race and just that because races are so competitive.
Yeah.
When you go to the racetrack, horses are grouped in classes. Like they won't put me and Usain Bolt together in a race.
Yeah.
Right? They would put all the fat old guys and with me to run in a race.
Yeah.
So horses are classified like that in a racetrack you go. So they're classified in a way that every horse should be at the winning post at the same time. But that doesn't happen in real life. Okay. So that 10% of jockey's skill comes into play.
Yeah.
And I believe in that. Because usually you put a good rider, any good rider on the best horse, usually that horse wins. But horses are flesh and blood too.
Yeah.
Days and bad days. So sometimes you see a horse will win and he pays he lights up the tote board and he pays $100, $200, $300 to win.
Yeah.
It happens. But on a good day, a bad horse can win.
Yeah. And as that's what you say, the fairness comes into play. And
yes. And, that's what I want. My image, I wanted it to be. The guy tries 100% for the public. Anyway, as we were getting back to the crime that took place, you guys were young. I don't know if you were born yet. Were you guys born? We weren't born as yet. In the 60s. You guys were.
More our parents.
Born yet. Well, that happened, my friend. You probably can ask your parents. Back in the early 70s in Jamaica when crime escalated, and people from all walks of life, every color, every race, were running for their lives. As a matter of fact, I want to tell you, I was just with a steward from the racetrack at Caymanas Park back in the 70s. He's actually my neighbor. I came across him a few days ago, and he was telling me what happened one race day. They had the stewards, 3 stewards sits in on a race day. They had to disqualify a horse that was owned by one of these gangsters. And what happened after the race is they got him cornered and they threatened to throw him off the balcony of the grandstand.
Oh. Yeah.
And I mean, he said he was like me, missing his pants.
Yeah.
And the police had to come in and escort him to safety and leave the racetrack. So I'm telling you, it was for real when you hear about all these acts of crime in Jamaica. I'm sure you have some relative that can tell you about the crime that
definitely
in the 70s.
Yes, I'm close to the stable. I've heard of many incidents at
yes. Well, they're true, and it's a shame why we have so many great things from Jamaica, music and athletes, and we also have the highest crime rate per capita.
Yes, and when you made mention to Mr. Hosang, that is why I stopped betting on horses. Because
well, yes.
I had to stop it because it's just not. You can't read it. You can't. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not transparent.
I agree with you.
It's not transparent.
I agree with you. But since recently, what they did was change of the format of handicapping horses, where owners and trainers will handicap their own horses instead of one man who was the handicapper back then, who rates your horses and give you the classification of a horse. You as an owner and a trainer, you want to run your horse in a cheap race with cheap horses, it's your prerogative. But or the claiming system. What happened is these trainers and owners are watching each other. They're policing each other. If you think you're being smart and take a good horse and run him in a cheap race to cash a bet, there's another owner can claim that horse from you, meaning you'll go into the race, your horse, and as soon as the gate opens, that horse belongs to another owner. Claiming system, which is a fair system where the game itself police each other and keeps it fair as possible. So the system we have now is much fairer to the public.
Yeah. Who was your rival back in those days?
Back in those days, in the wintertime, great jockeys like Lester Piggott, you have heard about Lester Piggott and Joe Mercer and some really good top-notch riders used to be in Jamaica in the wintertime, like from December, January, February, they were there. And we used to learn just watching those guys. Something named video back in the days. And we had the Panamanians, which were Joe Bravo and Albino Ubidia and a group of Castillo. There were a group of Panamanians riding in Jamaica at that time. We had Richard De Paz, Jamaica, Charlie Hussey, Griffiths, you name it. Some good riders. Like starting from the late 60s, early 70s, the profession was getting really upscale, and we were once a week racing and sometimes twice for the month on public holidays. So racing wasn't really, well, right now I think it's twice a week.
Yeah, 2 times, Wednesdays and Saturdays. Yes. All right, so tell us about your time in Canada.
North America.
Yes, because you said you ran away in 76, 77.
Yes.
So,
well, why I chose Canada was of quite a few of the trainers that I was riding for in Jamaica migrated to Canada. So as to get a break into the racing system there, I chose Canada. Now it was in the middle of the summer. It was in August. Weather was pretty much similar to here. And I started off with my first mount for Michael Silvera, which was some kind of long shot horse. Her name was Bambes. She was a long shot. And just like, I used to win a lot of races for Michael Silvera in Jamaica. It's just like we had the chemistry. We made match and the horse won my first ride.
First ride
won. And this was like on a Wednesday. Now in Canada, they race 5 and 6 days a week.
Wow.
Now the profession, took another level up again. The bar rose from once a week to 5-6 days a week. And I didn't get another ride until 3 days after. I had three mounts, 2 from Michael Silvera and 1 from a Canadian. And all 3 horses won. And that just catapulted me into the top ranks.
No looking back. No looking back from there.
Yeah. They recognized me from then. And I just kept on rolling until I think...
we saw where you won 2 Canadian Jockey of the Year.
And in 1979 and 1981. Yeah. And in those years and before and after, I was like second lead rider.
Definitely in the top.
I was always like in the top 2 or 3. So I had like a good run there. but nobody told me about winters. First winter I experienced, I was like, hey, whoa, hold on.
Yeah, hold on. The cold.
It's outdoor, horse racing is outdoor.
Yeah.
And weather can get to some miserable freezing and below freezing temperatures. So the first time I experienced that, it was the first time I was crying.
Yeah. I don't like the cold as well.
And nobody
the
was
experience
beating
of the cold is not nice.
I said, why am I crying? And nobody's hitting me. Nobody's like icicles coming down my
Yeah.
Anyway, because I was doing good and I was fearing not to come back to Jamaica because of the crime.
Yeah.
Said, well, I can deal with this cold. It's not going to kill me. And I stuck it out. And I must tell you, I had a scare once when I was in Canada. After I was there a couple of years, the notorious Claude Massop.
Yeah.
He was a notorious gunman for, political guy, I think. He came to the racetrack.
In Canada.
Wow.
And I was in a jock's room and someone called me and said, I have a visitor. Unbeknownst to me, when I went out, I thought it was a family member. I saw Claude Masso come and visit me. And I run this far and they're trying to come here and kill me. But to his defense, he was, you take an out of his element. He's in now Canada where he said he came there to cool out because Jamaica get hot.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, okay, he was on a different vibes. I was relaxed talking to him. We sit down like us talking here. So we were just talking racehorse and what's going on in Jamaica. And, in a couple of months, I heard he went back to Jamaica and he got killed. They murdered him somewhere, on the road somewhere.
Yeah.
And this guy, he has a good streak in him, although he was a notorious gunman. So you take a man out of his element and you put him in with different people from different walks of life. And he was just a different cat. He was cool and was like any other decent, good Jamaican.
Just vibing and talking.
Just talking, yeah. But on the other side, when he's in Jamaica and he's doing his thing, everybody has to run and hide.
We heard stories about him.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us, you probably have a lot of memorable moments in your career, but tell us probably the top 3, the most memorable moment, because you probably can't even name one, seeing that.
Yes, I tell you, you're right about that.
Just off the top of your head, things that
off
pop
the
up
top of my head.
Yeah, like
was
the most
like
memorable moment.
Yes. Well, when I won the first championship as a rider in Canada was a pivotal moment for me because I realized that I can really hold my own with the best in the world. Because Canada, they had this invitational day where they invited all the best riders from America, Europe, all over. And we would have this competition day. And I listened to this, what happened one of these days. The first time they were going to have this competition race, I wasn't invited. I wasn't on the Canadian team. It was an American team and a Canadian team. And I wasn't invited. But they had horses it was 5 Canadian riders, 5 American riders. I wasn't on the team, but in a race, if there's more than 10 horses, they have substitute riders. but those horses weren't involved in the competition.
Yeah.
So I was in 2 of those races, making up the extras, and out of the 3 races, I won 2 of them.
Yeah.
And the Jamaican people there went wild and said, "It's Team Jamaica."
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a proud feeling then, you know.
Yeah.
Look at how, you know, the race
representing.
This thing worked out.
Yeah.
Another pivotal moment at my career up there is when I won one of the Triple Crown races. The first crown, one of their so-called Triple Crown.
Triple Crown, yeah.
Canada. And pivotal, I mean, I've ridden many good horses, many great races, won some close calls. But you know what? The last horse I rode was a very memorable experience for me up there. It was a young, inexperienced horse, and she did a backflip threw me and fell on top of me and kicked, busted up my face here, and I walked to the hospital.
Wow.
And
which year was that?
That was, I was then 45 years old at Highland Racetrack here in Miami.
Okay.
That experience sent me to the pearly gates, as we call it.
Yeah.
And they revived me and patched me up, and I'm just like, made me realize that, oh, life can be like so feeble. We can be gone in the next minute. You know, I was doing anything different that I was doing in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Same thing. And just like that, bam.
Yeah.
I could have been gone. And that experience made me realize I didn't take life for granted anymore. And I try to enjoy life a little bit more today.
Yeah.
And I'm more at peace with myself, not competing. And I put my best foot forward every day still. Get out of my bed and do what I have to do and enjoy life. I have so much more respect for time.
Yeah.
For time. Sorry.
So that means you didn't ride in Jamaica after 1976 at all. You didn't come back.
Yes. I used to come back.
You did?
On a few occasions. I used to come back to Jamaica. And then in 1980, I left Canada for good. And I came back and I lived in Jamaica for 2 years, and I was riding, doing well. I was picking my mounts, not many, but the quality good horses and the quality good races. I did well, and I had a little business going too with a partner of mine, Johnny Chuck. And it was like a haberdashery business. And I was doing good. I was happy. The country started to stabilize again, and I could see a bright future for the country. And it sort of just kind of went backwards again. And but it's inflation where did you remember when the Jamaican dollar was worth 5 to 1, 6 to 1?
Early 90s.
When was that, sir?
It was early 90s.
It is.
Okay, yes, you're right. That's when I saw this is happening, and I said, you know what, this thing not gonna end right and good for the people for the masses. It's gonna cause so much inflation, and crime is gonna rise again. And I just took the chance. I just sold what I had, and I left. And again, I left Jamaica, and I came to Miami this time, where I had my relatives.
Okay.
So anyway, I was hoping I was wrong that it didn't cause any more pressure on the people of Jamaica. But if I leave that to what you to your.
I think you're a prophet, man.
I leave it to you. It's sad because guess what? I kind of love Jamaica. And I was thinking at one time I could come back and even, live the rest of my old age life back in the country that I love. But that hasn't happened so far yet. And as I said, now today we have crime rate that is the top in the world per capita.
Yeah.
I know you gentlemen, you go out at nights, aren't you? Watch your back.
Yeah,
watch your back. Yeah.
We're in good company, as you can see.
Yes. Peter is a good married man. Actually, Peter is family to me because he's married into my in-laws.
Yeah.
His sister too.
He's good company. At times.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a good man, hardworking.
Yeah.
All of you guys, you're honest.
All the champions are related.
Yeah, all right. Okay, we're good through championship. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well said. But, Jamaica needs gentlemen like you guys who are hardworking, honest people who want to support your family and make a living.
There's still hope. We're still trying and we're still carrying the hope.
Yes.
So you're no longer involved. You're no longer involved in horse racing, whether from the management, training, owning.
No, not on that scale. But I still keep in touch with what's going on in Jamaica and up in America here. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I just did a little stint there with the George Hosang Trophy that was run last Sunday.
Yeah.
The George Hosang was run at Cayman's Park.
Nice.
And I did a little thing like this with the Zoom thing there.
Yeah.
Junior, I have a question for you from the internet. I was asked to ask you, are the horses in Jamaica faster than the horses in North America or vice versa?
Vice versa.
Okay.
Yeah. What happened is it all comes down to money. The horses in Jamaica are not top quality horses. And they're selling horses for anywhere from $1 million to $10 million US. Mm-hmm. And the bloodline is such that they are such that they are great horses bred. They're bred from good horses to good horses, from champions to champions.
Yeah.
Here than millions, and most of the time, not every time, they're good. You got some horses here that's worth $10 million. They buy it for as a young horse, and that horse grew up and it can outrun a fat man. So that is a gamble. So the thing is, horse racing is a rich man's sport.
Yeah.
Really, that's how it's. But as the years went on, this little guy would buy a cheap horse, and cheap horse can be a champion because it's thing, and it nothing is written in black and white in horse racing.
Yes.
All flesh and blood. I mean, you see all these stars these track stars that Usain Bolt and so forth like that, and Shelley, all those girls. I think they have sisters and brothers that they can outrun me and you.
Yeah.
It's just like exactly.
Yeah.
You can have an individual that reaches the top of a certain career or sport, and the other one is can't be found. So,
well, George Hosang, we come to the end of this segment, and I want to thank you for coming on Primal Sports and sharing your life story. It was very interesting to know about all of these things that happened back in those days. Thank you very much.
We learned a lot.
I thank you, gentlemen. And there's a lot more we could talk about, but it's just one little segment of what we're doing.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
I have some
much,
questions
guys.
for you. So hopefully in the future we'll have you back on.
Yes.
I would love to talk more about horse racing with you.
Yes. We can go to a different segment of horse racing and me where I'm heading.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thank you for sure.
Thank you for the
Peter.
team.
Okay, it's Kane and
Dale.
Dale. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, gentlemen. Have a good
Thank you from the whole Primal team.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, now it's time.
Okay, bye.
It's now time for sports commentary with Peter Muyang.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, Winter Olympics start, gentlemen. And, I'm always complaining about the Winter Olympics. So, Winter Olympics started, and to my shock and surprise, there's no snow in China. They're making artificial snow. The artificial snow is supposed to be dangerous. According to what I hear, you're going to go down the hill much faster than you used to and all these kinds of things. Look for more accidents. Bobsled, look for more accidents. It's not snow, it's artificial snow. So the Winter Olympics is going to be quite a bit of a debacle this time around. Jamaica has a male skier that you guys have never heard of. His name is Benjamin Alexander. And so I went and looked up Mr. Alexander's resume. Benjamin Alexander never tried a pair of skis up to 7 years ago. Kane, you and me have spent our entire lives trying to go to the Olympics. We have to play Jamaica to go to the Olympics. We'd have to struggle against the best in the Caribbean. And then later on, we'd play against the best in Latin America. Later on, maybe 8 people from the entire Latin Americas would have to play against a pool of people from Australia and all the things. And then maybe if you're lucky, one of us will get into the 64 people who get to play the men's singles. No Jamaican has played in 16, probably 20 years for the thing there. But so I'm going to ask you, what are the odds of a man who he was a banker, then he became a DJ, and 7 years ago, he put on his first pair of skis and he's in the Olympics. How did this guy get to the Olympics? Benjamin Alexander. I did some research. I can't find any video of Ben skiing. I found a little video of Ben skiing. I probably could do a better job than Ben. Ben is okay skier, but Olympic grade? Come on, in 6 years? So, how did Benjamin Alexander qualify for the Winter Olympics? Well, I'm here to tell you that there's a country called Cape Verde. It's a tropical country. They don't have snow. He competed in the Cape Verde trials. Where was the Cape Verde trials played? It was played in another tiny country called Liechtenstein, probably the smallest country in Europe. How did Mr. Benjamin Alexander qualify for the Olympics? He came 7th. I'm surprised they had 7 entries. He came 7th in one in the giant slalom. He came 8th in the other slalom in Liechtenstein's Cape Verde championships. No video. You won't find any video on the internet. I think you're very lucky. I found out that Mr. Benjamin Alexander, his mentor, is one of the Stokes from bobsled fame. These guys know how to get into Olympics. Kane, you and I made some mistakes. We want to get to the Olympics. We have to check the Stokes, man. 6 years of training, maybe less, and you're in the Olympics. I'm not going to say I'm jealous, but I am jealous. I'd love to be able to. We think in Jamaica that Olympic aspiration is about quality. It's about quality. It shouldn't be our makeup numbers. Mr. Ben admitted in an interview with the BBC that he's not in the top 3,000 skiers in the world. I would like a chance. When next Jamaica have winter games, I am putting my name up for trials because I think it's an easy way to see the Olympics. He said that the Olympics is trying to be inclusive of the Winter Olympics. Come on, guys. But we're going to move from that. Hey, and I tell you, I don't want when I go to Winter Olympics, you're laughing at me. No. You should be laughing with me. Yeah. And I feel that these people are laughing at us. Jano. So speaking of tricks now, USA played against Honduras in frigid weather. They took the Honduras who are used to shorts and t-shirt into some weather that no man should go into without a fur coat and gloves. Minus in the Fahrenheit scale. Now remember, the water freeze at 32, So we gone below that. And that's where USA put the Honduras guys. I think that was a little cruel. It's funny, but it's a little cruel. But is it any less cruel than when Mexico takes us up in the heights, or Bolivia, up in the heights of La Paz or Mexico City, and then we're straining for oxygen and the Mexicans start laughing at us? Is it any less cruel when Jamaica make USA play on what is essentially a goat pen, where the ball is bouncing up and down in the middle of the midday sun? I think that it is time that FIFA start to look at these extremities that we ask people to play in. Because it's not football. It's just not nice for us to think. Speaking of football, we had a football match the other day. And I got a glimpse of what a Jamaica football team under Paul Hall would look like. And I'm here to tell you it would look no different. Because Paul Hall is still trying out players. At the end of a World Cup qualifier. Some people were making their debut. I saw Paul Hall make some Whitmore-like substitutions. The 2 substitutions, Jamaica was 0-0 with Costa Rica for a good portion of the game. And Paul Hall made 2 substitutions. But he took off Antonio, who was a threat. Antonio was taking 2 defenders out of the game and possibly 3. Whenever he got the ball, he was crowded out. Any tactician knows that that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. Because you're crowding out a player, you leave another player free. You take Antonio out, you put less pressure on the Costa Ricans. And the substitutions I want to talk about is that he brought on an Englishman, well, I don't know the guy, a defender on the left side. Immediately, the guy committed a reckless foul. And then immediately after that, he committed the penalty foul. And the penalty was saved by the goalie. Good save keeper. That's the second penalty in a row that he saved. I think this must be some kind of record. Our keeper, Andre Blake, saved the second shot. The rebound went back over to the left side, where the Englishman still had not found his proper position. And that's where the goal came from. The goal came from a tactical blunder, in my opinion. And Paul Hall, not much better than Whitmore, probably absolutely the same. In addition, sorry to have so much to say this week, but Costa Rica had 6 people with the COVID came down here to play. And guess what? 2 of the COVID guys made it onto the field and were probably instrumental in the result. What is FIFA going to do about it? I think nothing. One thing I can tell you is only Jamaica would have. You can imagine we went to Mexico or Dominican Republic to play table tennis and one of us tested positive off the plane. We would not even be with the team. Jamaica allowed them to go on the thing. Our doctor in charge of the team, bust the news. He bust the news because his own integrity wouldn't allow him to keep it quiet. But it was embarrassing all the same. Embarrassing how we manage COVID. And it continues to get even more embarrassing. Here it is. The football team of Jamaica is playing. Last gasp. We need the 12th man. And no spectators are allowed in the team. No spectators were allowed. But then comes the announcement that next week or this month, Gibbs Relays will allow 10,000 spectators. I don't think that is fair. It's not equal. Is athletics such a big game that we can have 10,000 people come watch athletics, but we couldn't have 1,000 to watch a little football, man? I feel a little annoyed about it because I noticed in the crowd, I looked on the 20 or so spectators, and I saw the Minister of Sport, Miss Olivia Grange, was there. Now, that's not a good picture for me because it tells me that it was safe enough for the minister to attend, but it wasn't safe enough for us to attend. Politicians in Jamaica, I'm going to touch on Floyd Green in a second. Politicians, Mr. Green at a party. It's not sports. Mr. Green at a party. And no charges will be laid on him. There needs to be one rule for politicians and the same rule for the rest of us. It can't be 2 different rules. And when I looked in the crowd at Stadium the other day, I saw the Minister of Sports. She was grinning. She gets to watch the football match, and I can't get to watch the match. I don't think it's fair. That sports commentary, what say you?
That's a good one right there. You know, the all 3 topics that you touched on a while ago.
Where do we start?
But we can start from the top.
Before we even start, remember, phone lines are now open. The number is 1-876-552-7406, and that's via WhatsApp only. Feel free to call in.
Yeah, what's that guy's name? Benjamin?
Benjamin Alexander.
Where do we start? We're starting in the Winter Olympics?
Yeah,
you want to start there?
You don't think something is really suspicious about that?
About Ardent, Peter says it every week. We know. So it's no news. That's why Peter always vibe for these sports that we don't even have a National League setup. Calling right away, first caller. We missed him last week. He's here with us this week for sure. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Center Primal Sports, Mr. Garvey. I'm baffled from that sports commentary.
Yes, good sports commentary. But I'm happy you had George Hosang on this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
legendary.
As a former pundit myself, I was very much involved in racing.
Yeah.
Back in the ages that I used to. I made the regret, I must say, from racing. You know, I lost more money than I won. You know,
what a surprise!
Yes, I was a big better when I was going to high school. I used to. That was where two things I used to play a lot of. I was involved in horse racing as a punter. You know, my good friend Garwin Davis was my part-time crime on that.
Yeah.
And that was, and I was very much involved in poker as well. You know, I used to play a lot of poker back then. You know.
Okay.
But I want to share with you. I don't know if George is still on, but there is and your listeners will find this one exciting. So George spoke about gambling and what used to happen, in the gangster world and horse racing all over the world. By the way, that is where you find the gangsters. You have to go to. Wherever the horse racing is happening, because it's a quick way of making money. Quick way. You know, most races within 2 minutes, you know who win or who loses. So it's a quick way. But let me give you this one. So there was two horses at Gamelands Park. One of the horses, as George was saying, the horses, they have different classes. So you have from A class to about H class. So there was this H class horse and an H class horse. Both of them were two brown horses from the same stable. One of the horses' name was Morant and the other was Jacana. Now Jacana was an A class horse while Morant was an F class horse. But there was two brown horses. Morant though had a white in his forehead. Jacana didn't have one. So what they did, they paid Jacana with a piece of white in his forehead, and run the A class horse down in the F class race. the jockey did not cooperate, and the horse went by about 40 days. I was wondering what happened. How come this horse that didn't even place in a race before won that race? You know how they found out? When the horse, after the race is won, you have to walk back to the winning paddock.
Yeah.
To parade. When the horses were walking back, then they saw the dripping, the paint started to drip. So when they investigate that, then they found out that look, that was the right horse that ran in the race.
Yeah.
Now, up to this day, the two persons who were involved, I won't call the names. They are barred from and these are two public. You mentioned the name. These are persons who are well known.
Yeah.
You understand? So horse racing is always what you see on the television is never usually, all in all, what takes place on a race day. You have 11 races, 10 races per day. There's always one or two that something is happening that you just don't know. So it's never what meets the eye when it comes to horse racing. It's a beautiful sport, but if you're not in the know, it's not one of those sports that is good to participate in if you don't know what is happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that's one. The other thing that I think we should have mentioned, or we can mention, is the African Nations Cup finals take place tomorrow.
Yeah,
and that's the big.
We're definitely leading up to that. That was my prediction from last week, where I predicted Egypt and Senegal to be in the final, a so-called Liverpool clash.
Right, it's not so-called. It is a Liverpool clash, and so that's a big thing tomorrow. So I mean, we're into listing about who the one that I call them your principal goes against my betting all the time, but I'm about to say that I'm going with Senegal for the win.
Funny enough, I'm going with Senegal as well. So I mean,
I'm going with Senegal, over Egypt. I mean, Egypt, I think, is the bogey team so far. They're not.
Senegal is the favorite.
If you look at the ranking, Morocco, they also got rid of Cameroon, and they got
winning penalty shootouts as well. So close matches.
I think Egypt was pretty lucky against Cameroon if you saw that game. Cameroon should have won. They hit the post. They did everything right, but just couldn't score. When they came out to the penalty kick. So I think that is that is the big
big match for the weekend.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Big match for the weekend.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think happening in the football world is that has gone unnoticed is that this $75 million man, the big star for Colombia, is now at Liverpool. Liverpool bought a $75 million man who may be making his debut tomorrow
Diaz.
in the FA Cup against
Luis Diaz.
He's really a big player. I mean, anybody who's following soccer outside of England, he has been a star for Porto, 16 goals in 18 matches, right? So he is somebody, someone to watch, in that match who is coming up tomorrow. But all in all, I mean, I think the African Nations Cup is where all
eyes will be on Africa, tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. But Egypt, for me, I think, fourth time lucky, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
lucky team.
I really like the role, Sadio. When you look at that Senegal team with the number one goalkeeper in the world, he's keeping for them, the guy from Chelsea.
Yeah, Mendy. Eduardo Mendy. Yeah.
Right. They have arguably also the number one defender in the world, the guy who plays for
Koulibaly.
Koulibaly. Yeah. And also the guy who plays for in France for PSG.
Yeah.
He's there as well. And when you add Sadio Mane, I think Salah will be left with too much to do on his own.
Yeah.
And I'm not impressed with what Egypt. If you have been following the nation.
They've been scraping through, but they're getting the results. So, and they have a goalkeeper that is saving penalties. So maybe they'll be holding out until penalties. Yeah.
Right. Well, all gentlemen, I think Peter made some good points in his commentary about the Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
The big thing, what I took away from sports commentary is that what we have to understand that sports is no different from your day-to-day job or what you do in terms of politics. Politics is
sports is a business. Yeah.
It's a business.
It's a business.
When you watch the bobsleigh thing and Winter Olympics and all that, something will come bigger from that, in terms of some movie or something. These guys that, it's never what meets the eye in sports. The business of sport is usually a bigger piece to it than what we just watch the entertainment piece where we can talk about that. But what you have to look is what happens behind the scene, that the sports is no different from any other business.
I have a saying in life that I said, things is always more than it seems. So that applies to everything.
Always.
Not what meets the surface. There's always more to it than what meets the surface.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, let me just say it again all the time. Gratitude is a must. I must say that you guys are doing a great job. It's a great way to spend, listening to your program on a Saturday evening. I look forward to it. And I just want to encourage you to keep up the great work.
Keith, what do you feel about the new camera angle?
The new...
We have changed the angle of the studio slightly. How does it look?
No, I noticed that. I noticed it. There's everything. I like it. This is more... Peter, it's just improvement week in, week out in terms of not just the delivery of content, but the surroundings and all that. So I know this will only get better and stronger as time goes on. Excellent job by everyone, and it's looking good, looking up, and I'm sure this program is gonna get stronger and stronger.
All right, thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Mr. All right, one love.
As him said, there's something more to this when this Olympics thing,
Let me tell you.
Business of sports.
6 years and you qualify
So this guy was working in finance in Hong Kong. Then he chooses to become an international DJ. So he spent 6, 7, 8 years just touring the world playing music. He's playing music for some guys who came to do skiing and just said, let me try and do skis. 6 years later, he's in the Olympics. How you explain that?
Yeah, the Winter Olympics is not really...
He's talking about the sacrifice. He said he's lost money paying to go to all these tournaments and all these kind of things. What a sacrifice! People always tell you how much they put into a sport, but I want to know what they're getting out of it. Yeah. Is he going to be the star of Cool Runnings too?
Probably.
I think so.
Probably.
Well, you heard it here first on Primal. We do make bold predictions and they tend to
Cool
come
Runnings
true.
too.
So look out for Cool Runnings too.
Yeah.
No,
But on a serious note, though, yeah.
On the topic of track and field, with this Gibson relay and the vaccination, allowing people in and not allowing
10,000 spectators, fully vaccinated spectators for the Gibson McCook relays coming
Is
up.
football less important? What do you think? You think football is less important than athletics?
There must be some other reason, because I can't understand it. It don't make much sense to me.
But it's the World Cup campaign, it's the Reggae Boys. And
it's bigger than...
I don't understand.
I think that somebody has come to a conclusion. We're not getting anywhere in football.
We have the next caller.
Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Primal Sports. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, man. Good afternoon, guys. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon. What's your topic today, Mr. Madden?
Now, just listening to you guys going on, to be honest. I think the main thing that caught my attention was the comments as to how we're dealing with the vaccination situation, wherein the Honorable Minister was allowed to attend the games and the rest of us weren't. I mean, we all wanted to be there. As Peter said, they needed the 12th and 13th man.
Yes, but so Paulton, you think politicians are probably super fans? Do they cheer louder than us? They give better support to the team? You think the team plays better once they see a politician in, and that probably is probably a more effective way to boost the team, having a politician there? Or should it be better to have fans? What do you think?
Let's put it this way. I think if the team saw the entire cabinet of Parliament versus 1,000 fans cheering for them, they would take the 1,000 fans.
And then now, weeks later, the stadium is being allowed 10,000 fully vaccinated spectators to attend a track meet that lasts longer than a football match.
A lot longer.
Precisely. Precisely.
So you're telling me...
Get 1,000 and they're getting 10 times that. I mean, Gibson's is a one-time event per se, whereas, as Peter put it, this match is the dying stages of qualification.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We could have given the boys some help.
I mean, it doesn't matter what stage. I mean, fans are fans and they want to watch the team play. If it was a first round match, I would want to watch the match just like any other match. But even so, given the importance of the match and the high level of this is it. That is what we want to qualify for the World Cup. We know what's at stake, and there are no fans allowed.
You think they probably realize that they made a mistake and they're trying to make up for it this time around?
Overcompensation.
Yeah.
But they had 2 shots. We hosted 2 matches, and for both matches...
We could have used the crowd. Yeah.
But I guess I'm no politician. I'm no economist. I'm the Schwab. But it doesn't look good to me.
Yeah, Madden.
Yeah. I mean, the next thing that caught my attention was, as Peter put it, the sacrifices made to get these athletes to the Winter Olympics. Guys, it's a humorous program today, guys, I must say. Quite informative, but quite humorous.
So not controversial, but humorous.
What are you saying about the sacrifice?
I mean, I don't call him controversial today. I'll call him quite humorous.
The humorous boss. Yeah.
Well, you said this guy made a huge sacrifice, right?
What's his name? Benjamin
Alexander. His father was Jamaican. His mother is English.
Okay.
But his accent is definitely not Jamaican. He has never been to Jamaica. He's been to Jamaica once in his life, and that was because of COVID lockdown some venue, and he ended up in Jamaica. But other than that, I saw an interview with him, and he spoke about he wants to inspire young Jamaicans. And I think that maybe that's the reason why we have invested so much in these winter sports. Inspiration. I'm sure you take some inspiration from him. I myself,
Winter is going to try for Winter Olympics.
So we'll be cheering for him.
Yes. At the end of the day, we have to cheer for him. I hope he makes it down the slope. That's all I have to tell him.
Or up the slope. I don't know if he's going up or down the slope. He's going up the slope. Yeah. Whichever way you want to look at it.
All right, Martin. Anything else? 30 seconds.
No, guys. I mean, quite informative about the horse racing and the inner workings of that industry. It was a fun program. Me personally, I'm not one that
Hello?
A good listen today.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys keep up the good work, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, thank you.
Respect. One look. Yeah, I mean, we have so many topics to talk about because even so, we don't even touch on the tennis court topic yet. But
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure Peter has a take on that as well. But the reggae boys, no fans.
No, the inequity, the treatment is it just don't look the same to me.
And what even makes it worse for me is that we're all in this pandemic. I was about to say pandemic, but 2 Costa Rican players were allowed to play. 6 of them tested positive, so to say.
Yes.
And you're telling me that these 2 players, these 6,
they were allowed to stay with the delegation.
They were allowed to stay with the delegation.
They were allowed on the field of play despite the fact that they had tested positive. And then they were allowed to come on the field and play.
And you can't allow...
It's shambolic.
Whether I am vaccinated or not, I don't have COVID and I cannot go into the
stadium. You guys missing another thing too. They were allowed to take the plane home as well.
Yeah.
No quarantine required for them.
We have another caller.
Being positive.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Primal Sports.
Afternoon, gentlemen. How are you guys today?
Afternoon,
Fine,
Mr. Blake.
thanks.
What's your sports topic for the day?
This is Korea.
Repeat?
Pacquiao.
Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Welcome, Pacquiao. What's your sports topic for the day?
Football and tennis.
Football, go right
Go
ahead.
ahead, boss.
I think the JFF should really, they have been in the committee. They shouldn't pack their bag and just leave the football alone.
A big bag or a small bag?
They really fail us badly, man. Because look at it this way. You see, if Boyd was alive to have the quality of the players that was at our disposal this qualification period, there's no way we do this position of our win, not qualifying, but for the World Cup. Look at Canada, and I just straight to the Canada because Canada came to the back door for the qualification. I don't know if you understand, if you guys realize that, because normally 6 teams play this round.
Yeah.
Because of the COVID and the nation is all disrupted because of COVID, and because the contact of president knows a Canadian, I think. They devised a competition to qualify, I think it's 3 teams.
Yeah.
So 1 to make up the 6. That's how Canada came. So Canada came through that qualification period. Yeah. And look where Canada is now.
Top of the table.
Sorry?
Top of the table.
Yeah.
Thank you. You think because they have far better players than us?
No. They have a bigger boss.
They have a strong administration. Yeah. And then they manage the process properly. You see, you remember, football is now a big thing, You need a head of finance, you need a head of marketing, etc., etc. It's not a back pocket run corner sidewalk business. A big business. And I don't think this DFF administration have the quality and acumen to really take on this job. So I think they should have really packed that back because when you look at it, we had a good period to even assess our players. We have the Gold Cup prior to qualification. You want a better tournament than Gold Cup to measure your players and look at the quality of the players you have.
Yeah, I think
they were pussyfooting all this 1 year plus, trying to get players before they put a team together, get them organized, and play the World Cup with a quality team, and then use that to assess and then move on to the qualification. So,
Mr. Paco, a while ago, the sensors almost pressed the button,
Be careful.
So be careful of the language.
I totally agree with you, though, Rio. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, they messed up big time, man, because they have all the time to prepare. Because qualification, it's like a 1 week, like our trials in Jamaica. It's like a 1 week. You know.
And we use a lot of different players throughout this whole campaign than have a squad of players.
But the main point you're making, Paco, and I agree with you, you're saying that the JFF is a set of pussyfooters.
Yes,
sorry.
Yeah, for real, you need a big man in charge, man. You need somebody who can push the buttons.
Yeah, and I mean,
it need the personality of a Burrell. Trinidad Jack Warner was such a big personality. He got his way.
Yes.
And similarly, the JFF, it's almost like a government, It needs somebody of that stature.
Jack Warner did wonders for the players in Trinidad.
Yeah, man.
You think Dwight Jack does get a contract like that?
I spent some time down there now. I know.
But going forward, the JFF definitely need some revamping. I mean, one thing, the players are the players, but we know the pool of players that we need to choose from.
There's a technical issue we need to fix in Jamaica as well. If you go to Primal Sports Group Facebook page, we're discussing something. I posted a video from a former reggae boy on what he thinks the problem is with football. I think it'd be interesting for people to go there and comment.
Okay.
That video is a YouTube video by a former reggae boy.
On the Primal Sports page.
On Primal Sports page.
Facebook, okay.
Yes.
Paco, anything else?
As I said, by and large, I think because these guys, they don't know how to plan effectively and execute. So they don't know what the objectives are.
Yeah.
And achieve their objectives. So I think they should be the part of the example. But that's for the next thing. But the next thing I want to speak to is tennis. I know based on what Nadal achieved in the last Australian Open that there is argument in regards to the GOAT.
Yeah.
Bestowed on him. But I have a little issue. And I say it shouldn't be bestowed on the GOAT, but I think when you look at it, Djokovic, to me, notwithstanding the 21 achievement, you have to remember Djokovic could have reached that target more than once already, because remember he was disqualified in a US Open by hitting a
softball touch a lady in her neck and she keeled over. I saw it.
Yeah, good acting job.
The one that win that tournament. So I don't want to look at the 21, but I think what name?
Nadal.
What Nadal did.
The GOAT Nadal, yeah.
I think it was tremendous because coming from 2-0, they want to come and win under that condition. It was tremendous. But why I would want to bestow the GOAT on them and still think that Novak should get it, because we have to look at head to head.
Yeah.
And the number of times for that number one. And I think Novak had the head over. That's why I was said still Novak.
The head to head between the two of them is very close.
Paco, I have to jump in. I think you're searching for a stat that puts Djokovic in front. Yeah. Can I tell you something?
Your points for
when everybody was stuck at 20. I'm sorry, Paco. When everybody was stuck at 20, the argument was that if Djokovic breaks the tie, he would surely be the greatest of all time.
No, he's not.
No, that was the common talk, gentlemen. That was the common talk. And I'm putting it now that whoever pulled this sword from the stone is King Arthur, right? And I'm saying the man broke the tie. I couldn't care less whether COVID or no COVID. You break the tie, you the greatest.
So Paco, what will you say if Nadal wins the French Open next and goes to number 22?
Yeah, what we're gonna say that time?
No, hold on. I am not looking at the achievements in that. Because
they're looking at on the slams alone, but Djokovic have so many records out there. Djokovic have about 6 to 7 records out there. Nobody that has ever played tennis achieved what Djokovic achieved. So
we can find stats for all the greats that they single-handedly have.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there are points for and against. But Nadal is definitely in the conversation.
I think
and
I don't think slams.
And I don't think Djokovic is hands down the greatest.
Let Paco finish, because there are so many stats, Paco, in terms of number one and everything, and masters titles. Djokovic has done things that nobody, and even not even one time them do it. Him do it 2 times. So give them the stat from a Paco.
And I mean, Nadal has 13 French Opens. Nobody has double-digit slams in any one event.
Has dominated a single event like Nadal has.
Nadal has. So.
And he's won the other man them event too. He's won on grass, he's won on concrete.
And Nadal is now the 3rd man to have won each Grand Slam at least twice, joining Rod Laver and Novak Djokovic.
I say the greatest of all time.
No chance.
And when you check win percentages of all time, Novak Djokovic has the highest win percentage of all time with 83.25%. Nadal is second with 83.24%. So that is basically even. So win
like
percentage and dominance.
No, he's second.
I mean,
or third.
Second or third. I think all of them is in the argument.
Paco, I agree with you, Paco. You can't just use slams alone.
Paco, this man is usually wrong on the show most times. It's not one to good to be agreed with, but Novak Djokovic is definitely a great player. He's in the argument. I'm just saying there's arguments for and against all the top players.
Paco, before you go, Paco, where you put Federer now? Because I take him out of my tree already.
He's out. He's out from me.
Where you put Federer?
It's still there, 3.
3.
And funny enough, I'm a Nadal fan, and I hate to be a prisoner of the moment, but we can't help it. We're humans at times, and I think when we look back on all their careers, and now Nadal is, at number 21. But to me, I still think Federer is the greatest, and I'm a Nadal fan, and I have.
Primal. You didn't know that Federer never won and play?
He won.
When?
Once.
Well, I'm find that out.
Are you talking French Open or are you talking Spanish as well? Because Spanish is played on clay too, you know.
French.
He has never won the French Open.
Yes, that's what I think I remember.
You think you remember that?
No, that's impossible, seeing as he's won.
The good thing about it, we all have the internet at our fingertips.
You can check it right
Yeah,
now.
but,
I'm telling you.
The problem with this Federer argument is that Nadal beat that man to sickness. So there's no way you can even put Federer in this conversation anymore. You know?
Federer won the French Open in 2009.
Exactly, I'm about to read that off.
Yeah,
And the only men to win each Grand Slam twice is Nadal now,
and
Djokovic and Rod Laver. Rod Laver was the overall leader in Grand Slam titles before Pete Sampras surpassed him with 14.
All right.
And Pete Sampras is nowhere in this conversation because Pete Sampras' win record is within the 70%.
and
Rod Laver is a legendary player. And then after Pete Sampras, Roger Federer became the all-time leader in Grand Slams up to this day. And now Nadal is the 4th male to have had the most Grand Slams. So when Djokovic achieved that with all his stats, to be the best, you have to have a lot to say with it. So, we are points for and against, and there's nothing wrong with saying Djokovic is the greatest. Nothing wrong with saying Nadal is the greatest. But I think it's close.
It's not conclusive.
It's not conclusive.
Well,
That's correct.
Well,
leave it at that.
But your pick would probably Djokovic, and a lot of people tend to say Djokovic now because Djokovic is kind of in his prime, and people like to be prisoners of the moment. And when Nadal and Federer was at the top of their games and running this show, everybody was saying Federer.
No,
Federer.
Hold on.
We as humans tend to be prisoners of the moment.
Paco, you know why people like Djokovic? Because the man versatile.
All of them versatile.
He's probably the best mover out of all 3. He's the best service returner out of all 3. The only thing that I'll say that Nadal have over him is endurance. But in terms of style and play, technique, everything, timing, touch, this man is the most versatile. And take Rod Laver. What's his name? Rod Laver. Take him out of the conversation. Because back in the 60s, these guys worked and played lawn tennis. Just like with what's his name? Don Bradman in the cricket?
No, Laver was after that. Laver was a professional, full-time.
Hold on, I said he was playing against mediocre competition.
Pakaria, did you watch the Australian Open finals?
Yes.
My co-host didn't watch the finals. I'm sad to say. I watched it. And did you see touch from Nadal in that finals with those drop shots?
Yeah, man.
I'm just saying.
No.
There are points for and against for everybody. Nadal has touch. Federer is graceful. Federer is that one and backhand. But mentally, nobody's tougher than Nadal. So as I'm saying, there are points for and against. And I said, when it comes down to win percentage, they're right there, mid-80s.
Who's first?
83.25%.
All right, we just want
83.24%. What is that difference in Paco?
We just want who's first.
And who played more matches? Who has more wins?
All right, Paco, we're going to continue
we have to continue this. Respect for the card, Paco.
Yeah, man.
To be continued. And
Peter, Bradman,
do you know who was...
and Rod Laver.
Yes.
They played in a time...
It's not the same era.
What time? Which year?
Rod Laver was many years behind after
Bradman is like 30.
Bradman was playing in long white pants.
The 60s is who? Rod Laver was from the 60s and 70s?
Rod Laver was like 70s.
No, man.
I'm not asking.
Check it again.
And
but then again,
I read this book.
Listen.
Rod Laver was
any sportsman
yes.
that play racket sports
yes.
or any form of sports,
yes.
between the period of 1940 to 1970. I take them out of every conversation.
But either which way, I mean, I don't think he's in the conversation.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said I take those guys out of the conversation.
I'm not saying he's in the conversation.
Imagine people talking about Bradman is the best with 99 average. Who
60s, late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
So who this guy was, which bowler this guy was facing? Some man who had to work.
They were great players of the time, man. They were great players of the time.
In Bradman era?
Yeah. It's just that you don't know them now.
Peter,
you don't know them now.
Australian cricketers turned professional when that guy named Pracker introduced World Series cricket in the 80s. And every Australian would tell you that they weren't professional players back in the 60s and 70s. They weren't perfect. These guys were working and coming and with them pants and go bowl and go back.
Long pants.
No, I'm
not asking you, Packer. Kerry Packer was the man who introduced professionalism to cricket in Australia. There's no doubt about that. He was the one who brought.
You're going on Rod Laver, but you're strange. Rod Laver is not in the conversation.
No, that's what I'm saying. Take him out of the conversation.
He's not in the conversation.
That's why when I talk about cricket, as I take Bradman out of it as well.
Who put him in?
No, but you mentioned.
No, I was telling you who held the most Grand Slams. I was going before Sampras, so I have to go from the beginning of the history. Rod Laver is not in the conversation. I think Jimmy Connors is better than Rod Laver.
No.
I'm just saying.
Dangerous argument.
No, but I'm just saying. Jimmy Connors is not even in the conversation.
The vibes man.
Ivan Lendl is better than Rod Laver, but I'm just saying those men are not in the conversation.
The game was different. The game was different.
The game was not in the conversation.
Listen. Radley, if we're gonna go back to those days, they played with wooden rackets.
Yeah.
Up to
different times.
Up to Jimmy Connors. Jimmy Connors was one of the first people to play with a metal racket. And that increased the amount of power that they could hit the ball with. So I think it's almost like table tennis.
Yeah.
If when I hear people talk about the days of McNeish and those guys, the equipment now is far superior, far faster, far spinnier than what those guys dealing with.
Be careful.
I'm telling you.
I would say the clamp power, but even so, across all sports, it's hard to compare generations, and I think sports become more technological.
Yeah, do you think Jackie Stewart driving that car back then could drive against the guys who drive in Formula One now?
No,
it's a different
how I compare it to them.
Yeah.
If you had 32 teams, like for NFL, if you had 32 teams playing back in the days and now you have 100, I don't think you can compare that. But if the competition is relatively close in terms of tolerance, like if you had 32 teams and you had 28 now, you can then compare that. But when you have...
We have different equipment.
No, I mean, you can compare them against because they had a huge competitive field. But I'm saying if you have 20 here and you have 30 today, yes. But if you have 5 back in the 60s and then you have 100 now, you have to take it out of the conversation. Because in terms of competitiveness, the numbers matter about the numbers. Yeah, so them guys are playing the work. None of them guys are professional. And some people had an advantage, the guys with the money.
Yes.
Back in those days, they had an advantage because they didn't have to work.
You don't think they have it now? You don't think
everybody's it's more level now. It's
really?
More level.
Really?
It's a professional system. People,
did you know that they
with the exception of Jamaicans,
bobsled team? Hold on. You know that I don't even know if they own the bobsled they're using now, you know. It's a borrowed sled we competed with the last time. You know? No, last time.
Oh, the last time.
I think we qualified a borrowed sled. We're trying to buy a sled now. I'm sorry if I keep bringing up winter sports. You didn't know that?
So it starts snowing in Jamaica. Even that artificial snow thing, I want to touch on it. But I'm just engulfed in this whole tennis start now. So I don't even want to stray. Because...
Sir. Well, you know,
this Nadal victory is something...
I think it is something quite
I think it's something quite
I think he won with Medvedev there.
And Medvedev has been one of the best hardcore
When I watched Djokovic play Medvedev at US Open, I thought Djokovic was a little outclassed. No, I'm being euphemistic. But I'm saying that Medvedev looked quite dominant. And so a lot of the pundits were betting from Medvedev.
So you're telling me that Sunday, if he did us hold,
what I'm trying to explain to you.
No,
you saw.
No, throw away the second set.
No, hold on.
Throw away that second.
You saw Medvedev dominate Djokovic.
Yes.
And you made your judgment. You used the world rankings and said Medvedev was a worthy winner.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
However, people like Kane and myself, who have competed at the highest level.
Yeah.
We've been in the trenches. We've had to strategize. We saw that Djokovic, that Nadal would have won. In fact, we predicted against the odds. Yeah. And guess who came out successful?
Fight back from two love, baby.
Two turns here.
Fight back from two love, baby.
In hindsight, yeah.
And Medvedev, and it's not like Medvedev was playing bad or in a slump.
He was playing well. He was playing well.
He fought even in that final set. He had to break Nadal, and he broke Nadal at that end, and Nadal had to come back and break him.
I agree.
Well, so now I move Nadal from 5 to 2. No problem.
Good.
And Medvedev has been one of the best hardcourt players in the past 3 to 4 years, and Nadal beat him.
The problem is with Nadal. You know the problem is Nadal. Because Nadal's loopy strokes, it's a little ugly, you know. It's a little ugly. When you compare them with the crispness of Federer's one hand, backhand, and even Djokovic forehand, when you compare those, you kind of, it gives you a bias because we like styles. Yeah. But Nadal is very efficient, you know.
And he beats players.
One thing I can give you with Nadal, he has improved on the backhand side a lot. If you watch Nadal from 10 years ago, you watch Nadal now,
I would agree.
It's a big change. A big change.
Nadal is now 21-8 in Grand Slam finals.
So it's not bad for him to be second.
Federer is 20-11 in Grand Slam finals.
No, statistically, Federer is not in the picture.
He's
statistically.
He's in the picture.
Statistically, it's now Djokovic and Nadal.
Federer is in the picture. Federer.
You think so?
Federer is one of the groundbreakers in the sport.
He's in the tree, you know, but he's behind the other two.
Kane referring to marketing and how bring people to the sport from
even the style of play, and I think in their prime, pound for pound, on their best day, Federer would win.
You think so?
With that mental.
But the thing is,
I've said Federer crack over.
That day he won't crack. I'm not saying that one day. Yeah. That one day in your prime, when you are.
So pressure for pressure.
I'll tell you something.
Pressure at that point.
Yeah.
As a champion. Yeah. When you're playing, have you ever been in a zone?
Yes.
Yes. Three of them in that zone.
Yeah. No.
Federer wins.
The three of them in the zone?
Hold on.
In that
you
zone.
know, tennis is lucky. You have three great players. Federer is almost out in terms of the winners. But you have three great players now.
Yeah.
You remember when boxing had Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray, and probably even Duran, right? And Mike McCallum. Yeah. When we had all, that was a golden age for boxing, you know. And tennis have them golden era now.
Yeah.
But even so, the golden era was Nadal and Federer.
True.
The golden era was Nadal and Djokovic.
No, some people
Nadal
tell you,
is
my brother, some people will tell you the golden era was Bjorn Borg and Jimmy Connors. Yeah. That was a golden era too, you know. Tennis had a real rival. McEnroe came to join them. Yeah. That was a golden era.
And they had Sampras and Agassi, a lot of
and then Agassi has
Federer and
But these three guys playing in and around the same time is unrivaled in tennis.
Yes. Them going through a golden era.
Yeah. And Nadal
it's 20 years.
was at the beginning of it, in the middle of it, and at the end of it. Federer was at the beginning and the middle.
I think golden era.
Djokovic was in the middle.
Yeah.
And the end. Nadal is
Jamaica at a golden era.
Nadal is the only man straight through.
Nadal is a constant.
And Nadal is right there. And with these young guns coming up, Nadal have to hold them
in table tennis, you think we had a golden era there?
Oh my.
Probably what? In
local
Jamaica, local tennis?
Yeah.
Peter likes, the show cannot end without Peter being controversial. So, I mean, I have no comment on that.
Listen.
And Kane, you made a good point about Nadal being in the two. And it's the same thing as LeBron. That's why it's not bad for him to be second. You know, LeBron has passed through the
LeBron has no competition. But LeBron has no competition.
LeBron is a good example too.
No, but
LeBron come at the tail end of
but LeBron has never had any competition. LeBron don't have a rival.
I'll call here.
Hold on. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Primal Sports.
Primal Sports, still live.
Still live. Almost about to wrap up the show.
Who's this? O'Neal?
Yes, but save the best for last one.
Well, I mean, better late than never. You have about 2 to 3 minutes. Give us our sports talk for the day.
Oh my God, man.
Dancehall boys. It's turned from reggae to dancehall.
What
it's one thing I have to say today. I don't see nothing wrong with diversifying sports in Jamaica. Yes, the Winter Olympics and what is not and what is not. But not everybody can play football. Not everybody can.
So we're going to snow down Blue Mountain Peak.
And, you know what that can show a bobsled down there too.
Show a bobsled down there.
True.
I mean, we don't have snow. We need to build hockey rinks and have those. You know the equipment used for Winter Olympics, right?
Yeah.
You watch those Winter Olympics. I don't think we can create a league here. So we'll always be pulling from foreign elements and not a big pool.
I mean, if they're going to do some sport, do some realistic sports where persons can really go into. Because catering, Winter Olympics is basically catering for persons overseas.
Yes.
So that cannot give back nothing locally to the kids, to our system, to a program, but hey, you just throw a Jamaican flag on a shirt and go represent the country in Winter Olympics.
Unless you know in our academy and we can take some persons and then put them while they're out here. But that's just cater for persons outside.
Alright.
Congrats again on the national championship.
The trials, the trials.
One last, I wonder who's the coach of the national team now?
I mean, for now,
we probably can't get him on the show.
And here his take about table tennis going forward in Jamaica.
Hopefully can get him on the show next week, right?
Yeah, hopefully. But Onion, we're running out of time. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Alright, no problem.
Alright, big up. Respect.
Alright, we'll come to an end of another great show.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, I have to big up George Hosang for sharing his life story, boy, and talk some things, boy.
I'm sure I have more to talk. Yeah, it was a great interview, and I mean, hopefully he will look back on this show, and I mean, we thank him again.
Oh, gee, I need to break some news, guys. Next week we have on Primal Sports, where all the news is broken. We have the most controversial coach of all time, Craig Butler, will be joining us.
That will be a good one, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
so tune in next week at 4.
Thank you.
Yes.
One love from Primal Sports team.
Uncle Randy's up next. Stay tuned.